Guys, I'm going to skip the intro in this video right here, and I'm going to get right to the point. You know, the internet can be a very, very dangerous place. A lot of times we think about the influence it has on children, but sometimes, guys, this has the same negative impact on adults from a standpoint of being pulled in certain directions from something out of left field to where we forget all that we become and who we are to follow something else because it just is the shiny object at that time. I want to talk to you about this guy right here, pictured up here. This guy is Rashad Jamal. He's an influencer, claims to be a luminous being. Now, I understand the makeup of what he's talking about and who he is. But, you know, a lot of people don't. Supposedly, this story I'm about to tell you is about these two people up here that have been missing since July. This is Jeriel German of Horn Lake, Mississippi. She's 27 years old, and the 3-year-old baby is her son, Ashton Mitchell. I'm going to play for you guys the mother out there in Horn Lake, Mississippi, shout out Mississippi, and her pleas for help just to even know if her daughter's okay. Take a look at this and we'll come back and do what we do.
Horn Lake woman and her son are among at least 6 people missing after joining an online cult. As WREG's Mike Suriani reports, Horn Lake police say the mother and son were reported missing in early July.
I just want to know if she's okay, if the baby is okay, if they need anything.
Shalita Gibson is frantic, in tears, anxious to know the whereabouts of her 27-year-old daughter, Grandchild German, and Grandchild's 3-year-old son, Ashton Mitchell.
Are they cold? Are they hungry? Is she dead? Is she alive? That's all I need to know. Her choices are her choices, and I can't do anything about her choices.
According to Gibson, her daughter chose to leave Horn Lake, Mississippi with Ashton in July of 2023 and travel with a friend to Berkeley, Missouri.
She kept saying like she was getting ready to go because she was going to go on this spiritual journey and all of these things. And she was kind of acting a little weird.
Gibson believes that spiritual journey has some connection to Rashad Jamal, a self-proclaimed New Age influencer and prophet with an online cult following on several social media platforms. Police in Berkeley are now investigating the disappearance of 6 people, including the pair from Horn Lake, who may have joined Jamal's online cult and at one time lived in a house in Berkeley.
Neighbors reported seeing these people outside daily worshiping the sun. If it was raining, they would come outside naked and run around the yard.
Gibson says the picture offers no answers and little hope.
That's the house that she was dropped off at for sure. But the people in the picture and the little child that's in the picture, that's not her.
Gibson hasn't spoken to her daughter since July.
All of this is just out of her character. I don't have no answers. It's not her.
Mike Suriani, WREG News Channel 3.
All right, guys, that's the story. And they're saying that she's in a cult-like situation. Honestly, I don't know if it's a cult or not. I mean, a cult can be anything. You know, three things is like usually in a cult is like one supreme type leader, you know, that makes all the rules and people worship him. That can be any celebrity nowadays, guys. And I'm just being real with you. This woman is frantic with finding out if her daughter's okay or not. She says she's fine with the decisions, but she has a child with her, the grandchild, who the grandmother is close to, and you can hear it in her voice how sad she feels. You know, a lot of times, man, it's crazy how people can make a split-second decision by hearing one thing, and all of a sudden it changes their lives to where they go out in reckless abandon in search of or following said object or person without really taking rational thought and thinking about those around them that would miss them when they're gone. You cannot tell me that this young lady did not start saying stuff out of left field and her demeanor changing. Like the mother said, subtle changes in her demeanor, thought process, or some of the stuff coming from out of left field before she had seen, that sparked worry. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This dude right here, do I think he's a bad person? No. Do I think he's a cult leader? Hell no. See, I'm from up east, where a lot of people have knowledge of self. You got 5% Nation. Shout out to the gods. You are being nation. You have all these different pro-black organizations that are out that, have their own ideologies and ways of thinking. There's nothing wrong with that. People can believe in what they want to believe in. But I mean, when you put that type of energy out there, there are some people that are bound to follow it. She chose to follow him. Now, I'm looking at his face, and I was like, I know that face. My son sent me multiple times some of his music, because he's a rapper, and some of his, quotes that he quotes. To me, seeing him, he's just a dude that's on Instagram. He raps. He taking advantage of the social media thing, hyping himself up. People are falling for it. You know what I'm saying? Do I think he wants to deceive? No, but I think he's putting it on a show of how people get on the internet and want to be seen a certain way, and it's attractive to people. It is. Stuff like this is dangerous because it turns into a grand hustle. I looked at him and heard him talking multiple times, and I told my sons, I said, look, this is a prime example of somebody that wants to sound like they righteous, but act like a ninja. Older people with wisdom and intelligence, these type of people right here, we see right through them. But younger people find this exciting. Anybody can say colorful words. I've seen that in prison. Anybody can spit colorful words and all kind of stuff like that. But ways and actions should go with said words. It's like everybody want to be a poor, righteous teacher all of a sudden. Want to be Jesus-like, but want to run around doing a lot of new ninjutsu. If you know what I mean. Everybody want to be the next Malcolm X. Power to the people. And it's a cookie cutter guideline they follow, and it always falls in line. Talk all of this righteous stuff about common sense, and some of the stuff he says makes sense, but your ways and actions, you're running around taking pictures in front of cars, you got your girls with the butt out, you're holding the bubbly, you're smoking weed and spitting the knowledge. Whatever. But anyway, all in all, I think the grandmother should be concerned because it's a child there. But I mean, to pick up your kid and take that child on the road and go with some stranger that, from my standpoint of seeing him, he don't look like no father figure or anybody you would have children look up to. That's the craziness. It's a lot of gullible people out there. And I'm going to say this too. There are a lot of people that can't lead and have to be led or want to be led. They don't want to be left. They don't want it left up to them to make executive decisions. There are a lot of people out here that are looking for somebody to come and save them out of their own problems and give them an easy way out because they don't want to think things through. That's real. This guy right here provides a service to himself, but looks like it's out there for others. If you don't know a little bit about this guy, I'm going to show you who he is in this snippet I took off of Law and Crime TV. It talks about a cult, and it gives you an idea of some of the stuff that this guy is about. Take a look.
If you scared to die for what you believe in, that's okay, but I'm not. So get the f out of my way.
6 people missing for months after following this alleged cult leader and self-proclaimed prophet.
I think Rashad fits the usual profile, very narcissistic, very self-obsessed, grandiose claims. He has 90,000 followers, by the way, on Instagram.
We're taking a closer look into the history of alleged cult leader Rashad Jamal White and his group, the University of Cosmic Intelligence.
Grand Rising Cosmic Family. First, let me start by saying peace to the gods and goddesses of planet Kai. Peace meaning positive energy always creates elevation.
August 13th, 2023 was the last time anyone saw 25-year-old Michaela Thompson, 27-year-old Jarrell German, and 36-year-old Michaela Wickerson. This is the last known image of the trio in a St. Louis grocery store. Along with them, 30-year-old Naman Williams, 3-year-old Malaya Wickerson, and 2-year-old Ashton Mitchell all vanished. Their disappearance is now being investigated by a local police department. Friends and family of the missing say they cut off contact with them, some even quitting their jobs or maxing out credit cards. We spoke to cult expert and author of Cults Inside Out, Rick Ross. He says that process likely started slowly before any extreme measures were finally taken.
Well, people gradually unplug. It's a process of increments, step by step, bit by bit. People like Rashad encourage them to do this. And that is one of the early warning signs that something is really wrong, is that you have a loved one who's becoming increasingly socially isolated. And they're obsessed with a particular leader, and you realize that their entire network of friends is now within this group. But it doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly but surely. And in this sense, people don't really realize how far they've gone with these groups because it is a step-by-step increment process.
What we now see as out of the ordinary, cult members may begin to find as reasonable.
I think normal becomes whatever it is within the kind of network or bubble that you exist in online. So what we're seeing is people embedding in kind of networks online where they're only communicating with other like-minded people, and constantly being reinforced in whatever their new normal is, as dictated by the leader. So we think it's crazy, but then we're dealing with the world at large. These people are often cut off, as we hear, from their family, from their old friends, and they're embedded in this alternate reality, this other world online, in which they are following people that are like-minded, conversing with people online, and following, streaming and YouTube videos. It can become, completely encapsulating, where people really have no other access to the real world.
Ross says things start out innocently enough, oftentimes when people are down on their luck.
Well, I think the narrative is usually people are going through a difficult time in their life, and that happens to all of us. We go through bad patches, and they have the bad luck to be approached by someone who introduces them to some group or weekend seminar program or something that seems rather innocent, but in fact is a cult. And the person who's talking to you about this group or activity could be a coworker, a friend, someone you know, someone you trust.
In closing, I would like to say this. People have a right to follow and believe anything they want without persecution or, people teasing them or making fun of them. As long as they're doing something that doesn't hurt themselves or anybody else, I have no problem with it. And honestly, neither should you guys. Seriously. We all not going to believe the same thing. We're not all going to like the same thing. But as long as it's safe and doesn't, affect other people, I don't have a problem with it. The grandmother, is concerned. In my opinion, if I was in that same situation, I would too. And the reason why is this. In fact, let me say this. The reason why I wouldn't be concerned with this is because there's only 6 of them. Now, if this thing was growing and it was like 40, 50, 100, and it's growing. It's a growing thing. And that would cause alarm for me. And the thing is, this guy better be careful. He better be careful. I was listening to him. He had pro-black values. He sounded like he had a lot of Nubian values. You know what I'm saying? He sounded like he has knowledge of self. He deal with supreme mathematics. Be careful, because when Malachi Z. York was out, you know what I'm saying? He got hemmed up. Whole bunch of followers. Things started growing. All of a sudden, government interceded and shut it down. You got to watch yourself, because he has the trait that where he wants to garner attention at all costs. And that's a dangerous thing for a young man his age to have, because a lot of stuff that comes with that is scrutiny and controversy. You already labeled a cult with 6 people that are around you. And I'm not being funny. Looking at the people that was following him, I'm like, I don't think it's reason for concern. It's only a small amount of them. My thing is, babies are dragged up into this. What man would have a woman come across the country with a baby and the kid ain't his, number one, and number two, he ain't living the lifestyle reminiscent of somebody that's worth building, you know, something real to where your child can look up to him. That's all I'm saying. I don't know the man, don't care. You know, I'm up in age to where, you know, I done seen it all. And this right here don't smell right. And he just have to be careful, because this can backfire in a bad way on him and everybody else. And the thing I would be concerned about also is when people start gathering more and more people, they get more megalomaniac or megalomaniacal in their head, and they, you know, it blows their head up a lot of times. He already got a big ego. Sometimes you can tempt people to either get down or lay down with what you're talking about, and a lot of people get caught up. Jim Jones, that cult stuff, this is dangerous. But a lot of times people leave out, they get out. Now, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Is he a wolf in sheep's clothing? I don't think so. I just think he's a wolf and people think he's a sheep. I'm out.